Hey guys, Lex Gray here. Welcome back to another episode of Wolf Past Echoes. Before we begin, just a few things. I've noticed a very genuine uptick in views after I switched over to analog play, which has no AI. That's very intriguing. I think that's good. I obviously I don't dislike AI. It's just my audience seems to favor genuine tabletop play, so I'll keep going. And with that, also related to this series, we're reaching 20 episodes here pretty soon, and it's always nice to see when I can continue a series without jumping ship to a new one. So I think because this story is engaging enough. And then third, for this episode, we will try the Powered by the Apocalypse system. They'll be infused with Fate. We're still using Fate, character sheet, and the approaches, but the dice mechanic to do resolving, overcome, and attacking, defending, creating advantage, etc., we'll be using Apocalypse system, which means we're rolling 2d6 and we're going for those thresholds for success. So failure is 6 or less. 7 through 9 is a partial success. 10 and 11 is a complete success. And then 12 plus is a successful style, which fits pretty well with Fate because Fate's already a narrative heavy game. Apocalypse is typically a narrative heavy game. So, and I had my last video, I think I pretty much talked about that in full. And the Oracle will stick with our usual D100 list from the one-page mythic. And yeah, that's it. So let's begin for episode 19, Wolf Past Echoes. So we're currently still, well, Jory is underneath the Ashward village where we discovered there is actually the vault. It's basically a large underground uh, tunnel with a chamber that's what's just called the vault. And our main character Wolf here, he got portaled away basically into well, we don't know yet, but he heard voices which are most likely his parents screaming for help, and he touched a mirror that only he could see, After the mirror vanished with Wolf stepping inside of it, Jory was left without anything. His quote unquote ally was gone. He was left alone in the chamber. And then I think Jory, based on my notes here, he ended up being teleported back to the surface. So, if we recall, Jory is our surprise antagonist. He's our double agent in this one. And I've established that some time ago, which could be a bad thing or a good thing for the story or for my viewers, suspense thrill index, but that's just how I kind of roll with it. So what happens next? Because a couple days at work, I was taking care of that. I did a video, but 2 days off from a series actually is not tiring. It's just like you lose that edge. So I'm trying to jump back into it because when I make these videos day to day, it's a good it's a good approach. Pun intended for fate. It's a good rhythm to maintain. You take a step away for 2 or 3 days, whether you make videos of once a week, once a month. If you take a step away from your pattern, it becomes just you lose interest. Not in a bad way. It's just like, oh damn, I don't have that edge. So typically, what always helps is just rolling that table. So let's write down here. Let's find our spot. And like I said, we are episode 19, I believe. Let's see where we left off here from last session. Last session was episode 18, so we are in episode 19. And right now we're in two possible scenarios. We are in two possible locations. Jory is on the surface, and Wholf is MIA. We don't know exactly where he is. So let's figure out Wholf's situation. In all caps here, I want to figure out where he is, at least what this, our trusty one-page mythic can spring up for us. So I'm going to roll, as usual, a 2d100s, 40 Uh, Enemies, that's never good. And, well, actually, it could be more symbolic than anything else. And 70, oh, two solids. Okay. Old. Gee, I wonder what this means. Old enemies, as I sharpen my pencil here. That's self-explanatory. I think as Jory, sorry, uh, Wholf mentally tries to articulate, comprehend what he's seeing before his eyes. He is in some kind of realm. He is in some kind of uh, pocket dimension that's probably not familiar to him. I don't think this actually is the Dark Realms where we left off before, and I'm actually trying to stay away from that. Even though we're in the literal area where the Dark Realms was portaled through, or it has a portal through normally, or had, I want to stay away from that. So let's try to figure out where exactly he is. Let's just ask the Oracle. So, are we in a pocket dimension? 75% chance. If it's over 76 or more, that means we actually got teleported to a different location on this map, which would be also intriguing. But anyways, 75% chance we're in a pocket dimension. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that actually throws a twist. We're not. Enemies old. Okay, question mark. So we are not in a another realm. That's good to know. So it's a strong no. So NO capital underline. So Holf is somewhere else on this world map, and he's in an area where there are old enemies of his. He's a survivalist. He has been throughout the lands for 20 plus years, let's say, since he was founded by, since he was um, not abducted, but mentored, adopted, I should say, kind of like Yondu for Star Lord for Peter Quill, kind of ish. Then pluck him away from his dying mother. His parents were supposedly already dead, so he found him and obviously um, raised him as his own. So he's somewhere on this map that is in familiar territory, which actually is very intriguing. This mirror that he stepped through, which was big enough for him to step through, because I'm assuming Wholf is like maybe 5'10" or less, maybe 5'8", 5'10". Never really jumped into his actual details. In my notes here in the character sheet, it says he's average size, brown hair, beard, rough exterior, tan skin. So that's the most vague I can be. But he's able to step to the mirror. Jory is left, obviously, in the Ashford without his prized possession, which was whatever was in that chamber. And that chamber had its the artifact was the mirror, but now it's dissipated. It dissolved into thin air. And Jory was able to see that with the staff of detect magic, a D&D spell or magic spell. So Jory's left empty-handed, and his whole story arc was going to be the reveal that he is the bad guy. So let's figure out two things. That's the whole substance of what's going on. And I now have an idea. My brain's back to full capacity, which is a sight. So okay, which means that my special little dice I have over here, as these arrows are going to help. This will point to where exactly Hulf ended up. He did indeed teleport, but within his reality, within the same realm. But which direction? Down. Okay, so he went south. This is the southern island of Escobar, the South Island of Escobar. And he teleported exactly 4 tiles to the south and 2 tiles to, let's say, we got one more arrow. Luckily, these are blue and red. Okay, so kind of let's just say to the right. So this direction here and four south. So that's going to be two to the right So one, two, three, four, just offshore here. This will be another brand new location, which we'll leave empty, but that's the tile he's at. So wherever that is, that's 31. So let's see, 30, 1731. So tile 1731. I'm gonna box that right here. That's where Wholf is at the moment. He is now in this undisclosed location or unknown location. These little dice here, I'm going to keep them handy because those are actually very useful. Got that at a local convention not too long ago. And then we know where Jory is. So Wholf is in enemies old, which I'm going to just to draw a little arrow here, remind myself. We'll figure that out in a second. But Jory, let's let's focus on him for a minute. Jory is pissed. Now, throughout this adventure, this character I haven't really fleshed him out too well. A lot of it was handled by AI, obviously, but I always saw him as kind of the older, wise, kind of dangerous, not Obi-Wan character, but kind of a mix of Obi-Wan and Han Solo. You know, he's no stranger to danger. He's no stranger to being surrounded by misfits or problems seem to follow him. But he's wise. He's magically adept. Or he's familiar with magic. That's no question. He's not really a character for us to have a full character sheet on, but he's definitely a NPC that is significant at this point. Maybe I should have a character sheet for him, but yeah, he's a. I'll get to that. I did it before, but I changed my mind on an episode I never actually posted. It was about 10 episodes ago. So Jory for now is an NPC. So Jory is still at Ashford, and he got kicked out of the vault. The vault's gone. It's just not there. It was only allowed to be accessed by lineage, and that was Wholf. So we'll write down here in the notes that Jory is currently on the surface, and he is contemplating what to do next. That being said, Jory is raising his staff up in the air to signal for his organization, the Arcane Veil. He's summoning them. So he summons his group, whoever is nearby. Let's say he summons a handful of scouts, and they approach him on horseback. They surround him. These several individuals who are cloaked with insignias of the Arcane Veil step off their horses, and walk up, then kneel and bow, or they kneel to Story. This is the twist. If this was a movie, this is the plot twist. So, from a cinematic standpoint, if this was a film or a TV show, or whatever, the camera would show Jory doing the staff raising and the Arcane Veil approach. Audience will be like, whoa, 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 wait, what's going on here? And some people will be like, oh, I saw this coming. And they walk up to him, they kneel, and they say, Master, what happened here? Jory would, he would slam the staff down and it would spark something just out of frustration. He says that, damn it all, he got away. I was this close to him. I just don't understand what happened. So Jory just has no idea what happened. Yet he tells them, I won't go, word by word, but he tells them that most likely Hulk got transported, portal to a different area nearby. He doesn't, based on his knowledge just in magic and what he briefly saw in the chamber, which was that kind of leftover magical residue that was in the form of dust, or some kind of form of dust. I don't know, I'm improvising here. Um, he tells them that that was no like portal to the dark realms, some kind of similar effect, like a different dimension. He says that's far behind them. This was a spell that teleported him to somewhere perhaps miles away. So he's thinking that's what he's assuming, that he got portaled away, because it explains why he believes, as he's talking to his men, the hatch is gone, the access to the vault's gone. And so he knows just through, research and being the Arcane Veil leader that Wholf was the only one who can spawn that hatch or anything that was of magical um, had a magical presence to the chamber, to the vault. So let's write this stuff down. That's quite a lot, but I'm basically going to sum it up with talking with Vale. And Jory knows, he thinks that Wholf got teleported. So that's what Jory is currently up to. And here's a problem. We can't forget about that one thread where they were supposed to meet the archives that Vanessa, let's look at her name. Uh, oops, where's my, oh yeah, that's right. It's in my back of my character sheet. I probably should just conclude on that. Oh, I've lost my character. I lost, this is the updated, okay, right here. It's my old character sheet. But yes, characters Valessa, archive member. I'm going to quickly pause the video and write this list of characters on the actual master list. Don't want to forget these character names. Okay, so we have Jory, magic user, leader of the Arcane Veil, now revealed to the, to the audience, quote unquote. Captain Hullo, the Halder's Guard, Valessa, archive member. But here's the problem: if Jory were to just waltz into the archive chambers, he is now revealed to be the leader of the Arcane Veil. He can't just walk in himself without Wholf. Wholf is the anchor for his whole scheme. He can't just walk in. They'll be like, where is the where is the where's Wholf of Ashford? They need him. He's the anchor. He has the scroll, which is no longer in existence, and you can't just walk into the archives, which means does the archives do they have anything that Jory could use to find Wholf? Or does this throw Jory's plan into dismay? I mean, I think this is where we figure out what Jory's plan was in the first place. Because again, he was following Wholf the entire time. He befriended him. He helped him survive deadly, catastrophic uh, circumstances and in the Dark Realms and helped him survive. Became his friend and ally, and then they just got separated. So Wholf doesn't know. Wholf had very small inkling that something strange about Jory, but not like you're the bad guy kind of situation, but like why, strange little mm, feelings about Jory's stance on certain things. But now we need to figure out what Jory's intent. We know he wanted to go in the chamber and steal whatever was down there. Is Jory just a classic criminal? Like he's a bad guy. He's a leader of a syndicate that steals artifacts. I think that's just cut and dry. That's just generic enough to go off. But this must have been like the ultimate heist for him. This probably was the most like rare item, the most valuable item in the Southern Islands that he could have stolen, and it was the mirror. Or was it Wholf? Was it something that Wholf had while in the chamber? See, a couple potential outlets here. Let's figure them out. Let's figure out Jory's intent. Okay, so what did Jory want exactly? We know he was on the leader of the Arcane Veil. So let's figure out from the list, was it something Wholf had? I really think it was the mirror. I really think that just Jory is a classic criminal syndicate leader, and this was a heist. This was the most thought out, planned heist to go after the most powerful artifact in the southern islands of Escobar, and he lost it. He lost it because Wholf touched it, and Wholf's trouble is that he's bound by lineage. That's on his character sheet, really right here. So Jory, he originally wanted the mirror artifact, the mirror artifact. And it was, let's say, it was rumored. It just based off information that Jory collected over the years, and he discovered that Hulf was the last surviving member of the village, and he needed him to get to that chamber. That's it. That it's not more any more complicated than that. Jory needed Hulf to access the chamber to get the mirror, but Jory didn't know the mirror could only be actually seen by someone of the bloodline of the Ashford family or Ashford Vale, Ashford Village. Whether it's by blood or just by magic, like hey, I live here, so I can see the chamber. I'm there. There is a darkness. Oh, the darkness. That's right. So we still have that plot hole that there is the darkness, that strange force that is magically bound to this village that was destroyed, which I completely forgot who destroyed it. I mean, something happened. I think it was just a collateral damage from. I I think we actually did learn that it was attacked by some exterior force, but I probably dropped the ball there. But let's keep going. So let's say while Jory is talking with he's getting a powwow. He's having a powwow, a prep talk with his group of scouts as they plan their next move. Something happens. So let's see here. Powwow with the Arcane Veil Scouts. This will be a question for the Oracle. So what exactly happens? Let's figure this out. 66. That's going to be leave. And the that's the action. This might be actually what they do, perhaps. The description is 36. Fool. Interesting. Okay, so leave in full. They just leave. So Joy doesn't give up. He thinks his answers are back in the archives. I really think he wants to go back to the archives, but he has to play it safe. He has to maintain the identity as Jory, and he has to say something went wrong that the arcane veil caught. There we go. So he's planning. Okay, I'm going to go back to the archives. You guys stay here or follow behind, remain in the shadows as you always been. Because again, the arcane veil, they are present in the city of Haldreth. So they are no stranger to the alleys. He tells them, go back to your posts. I'm going to go back to the archives and meet with Valessa and explain what happened. Maybe she will give another item that's worth stealing, explain something that they missed in the village, because the village, again, it's just desolate, it's abandoned, it ruins, there's really not much to look for. That is the story here. So let's write that down. Again, leave full makes sense. I'm not going to worry about the shadows that are lurking in the shadows. That's a naked joke right there. But basically, not gonna worry about that little shadowy force. Maybe they're only around when um, Wholf is around. Okay, let's see. So Jory will go meet with Valessa at the archives. The so that's a star right there, and then the arcane scouts will follow behind. Yep. Okay, there we go. So he makes his way back to the the city of Hogwarts. There we go. So things did not go as planned here. He's not giving up. He's going to. There's no hatch. It has to go back to the archives. The archives is familiar territory, and I think that makes the most sense in my eyes. Now, before I close this episode, again, my episodes typically last between 20 to 30 minutes. Let's figure out what this area is right here where Wholf appeared. So, Wholf location, we know he is in tile. Again, this is just a kind of repeating what I wrote earlier. 1731. So 17 to the right, 31 down. So 1731. I have to remember that 17, the first number is usually to the right, second number is usually down. And I do think this arrows actually worked pretty well with the related colors. So that actually worked out pretty well. Blue is typically, like I said, I think blue was down, red was right or left. Now, Wholf's location. We gotta figure out what this dot is. Let's figure it out. And as usual, I'm going to actually roll two descriptors. This is not setting up a situation or a scene. This is actually rolling to figure out the location itself. I could just say it's a temple or something, but I want to see what the Oracle says first. 16. Damaged. Okay, so probably more ruins, which makes sense. Damaged. And then, let's see. Ooh, 8. Bright. What could be down here? I pretty much said it earlier. It's damaged. It's a damaged temple. I mean, what more could it be? It's bright. Temple, vast, large structure. It's bright. There's a lot of sunlight peeking through. He is in the middle of this gigantic, maybe it like looks like a cathedral. A cathedral. It's this humongous abandoned structure. I'm going to call it a temple for now. Let's write that down. It's a large, abandoned temple. It has soaring, it has tall ceilings. There is probably some religious paintings on the ceiling. It could be a cathedral for all we know. I'm going to put in quotations, sorry, uh, cathedral. So if I'm spelling this right, probably not. Cathedral, whatever. There it is, cathedral. So he he opens his eyes and he actually is surrounded by like a dark force, and it slowly think of the movie Lucy, with Scarlett Johansson when she becomes like one with the universe. Her body's turning into that darker shade of some kind of um, overtaking weird force. Well, that's happening. That's happening in opposite of um, of Hulk. He is becoming back to normal. So he is that solid black color all over him, but then it slowly turns him back to his normal self. And he's looking around as he's trying to process what just happened. He's now in a certain location. He's looking around the temple and he looks up. He sees this, high ceilings. There is familiar chandeliers, probably the ones that have the floating candles. So now he's in Hogwarts apparently. But what if he was in Hogwarts? Not obviously the IP Hogwarts, but a similar large mansion school, maybe temple. Let's stick with temple for now. But while he's looking around, we need to ask Oracle what happens. So while he's looking around, while he appears and looks around, the following happens. This is for action and descriptor. Whoops, caught that. 41, environment. That is exactly what he's doing. He's trying to figure out where he is, environment. And then the description, 65, is new. Huh. So it's new. It's the environment. He's looking at the environment, and this is new to him. He's never seen this before. But it says old enemies from earlier. This place Is it this place belongs to someone who is an old enemy of his and he's never been here before? Let's write that down. Okay, so this place belongs to an old enemy of, we put 2 stars for this one, of his, but he has never been here. This is why I absolutely love this thing, this one-page mythic list. Again, you can use this. You can use the Mythic GM cheat sheet, which I have off camera here. If you have just tables of words, descriptors, and actions, it can spark stuff. And I think, as simple as this is, it makes sense. Adding up everything that's happened in Wolf's past, Hulk's past, I gotta get used to saying that, to now, this could be the place, the the party responsible that destroyed his village. It makes the most sense canonically, canonically for the story. Like again, I'm the driver here. I'm trying to craft this story, this narrative, and this makes the most sense. This could be the closing arc for Wholf. And Jory is on his own little side quest, trying to figure out whether just to forget about Wholf altogether and focus on the archives, or he thinks going to the archives will help find Wholf. It's like he needs Wholf for something. So maybe at first it was just the mirror, but now something's changed. So there we go. I think that's it for episode 19. This was more a mixture of world building and what our characters are trying to achieve. So not much action has happened here, obviously. Not much walking around exploring. This was more just me collaborating with what could happen, what should happen. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I sure did as always. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.